A phobia is a type of anxiety disorder when a person has an extreme and debilitating fear of something that isn't very dangerous. It's an irrational fear, and those who suffer from it are most often aware of this, and yet they feel utterly powerless to do anything about it. In this video you will meet Marianne, a 43-year-old woman from Australia who developed a debilitating fear of going to the dentist, also known as dentophobia. You will hear Marianne talk about her intense fear and anxiety and how it impacts her day-to-day life and all the ways that she has sought help that has not worked. Then you will see how I help Marianne. I help people overcome phobias with the same basic method that I help to overcome all types of anxiety. You will see how easy this unique method is to apply and witness how Marianne's dentophobia gradually dissolves in one single session. I will give an in-depth explanation how this method works and the way in which it's based on an understanding of neuroscience. All this will give you an understanding why it is so effective to overcome not only phobias but all types of trauma and anxiety related issues. You will hear what Marianne's 2 different visits to the dentist was like after our session, and how surprised even her dentist was to see the change in her. Within the course of a year, Marianne's previous anxiety of going to the dentist developed into an uncontrollable fear and panic. This was after a dentist misdiagnosed Marianne and missed to discover a cracked tooth that she had. This caused a great deal of complications, and an abscess developed in the back of Marianne's mouth, and she suffered prolonged and very intense physical pain. When Marianne reached out to me, most of the physical pain was gone, but she still suffered from the trauma. This is how Marianne describes what it's like for her.
I don't sleep beforehand. I'm panicking. Prior to going, I'm a kind of nervous wreck. I'm shaking. Can't really speak. It's just really consuming because it's on my mind all the time. I know I've got to go, and usually these appointments are several weeks apart. I'm needing quite a lot of stuff done, and the anxiety is it's taken over. I was supposed to start in February a master's degree, and I had to withdraw because it was just with all the dental appointments and just the stress that I'm feeling about it. It's just been too consuming.
Yeah. So when is your next dental appointment?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
And how do you feel about that?
Even just talking about it, my whole body is just full of anxiety about it, and to the point where I feel like my legs are just going to give way. When I have to walk into the dentist, I feel almost faint, where I'm so sort of nervous about it. And unfortunately, I'm having to keep going into this situation because there's no choice to get things sorted out. But if there was a choice, there's no way I'd be going. I'd do anything and I've done the avoidance strategy, and I've ended up then needing emergency appointments, which is even more stressful. So I've seen a counsellor or psychologist, and she's trying to sort of work through some techniques.
Okay, what kind of methods were she using? CBT, okay.
CBT, a lot of just talking to, trying to get to the bottom and the root of, what the actual cause was.
And did you see her many times?
Yeah, I've seen her, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 times now,
Yeah, okay. Have you seen any improvement?
No, not really, to be honest. I've probably got worse. I've done the brain spotting as well. That didn't work for this particular thing very well, no. So it's similar to the rapid eye movement, that EMDR is similar to that, the brain spot.
Yeah, okay.
So I've kind of been managing a lot, mostly on my own, and just trying to do meditations and breathing techniques and things like that. But sometimes that's more successful than other times. The months gone on, it's just got worse and worse, and more stressful, and more consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you get to see how I help Marianne, I will explain how fear and anxiety is created in our brain and why it's so hard to do anything about these feelings using our willpower and logical thinking. Then I will tell you about a way that makes it possible to rewire and dissolve unwanted fear and anxiety. When our senses receive information that we are in a dangerous or threatening situation, it will activate a small part of the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala will send signals to our body to release hormones like epinephrine and cortisol, which will raise our heart rate, tense our muscles, and make us feel anxious. In a really traumatic situation, the hormonal levels will get so high and the tension so strong that it gets physically unpleasant. The amygdala does this on purpose to try to get us out of the situation that we are in or protect us by making us freeze so that we can hardly move at all. Compared to the more advanced parts of our brain, like the prefrontal cortex, which is linked to our unique human ability for social control and logical thinking, it could be argued that the amygdala is somewhat primitive. Even mice and goldfish have an amygdala. In humans, the amygdala sits in the limbic system, which is the oldest part of the brain, and is sometimes referred to as the reptile brain. The limbic system, and especially the amygdala, is incredibly powerful, and it can be very difficult for the more advanced parts of our brain to control it. In fact, in situations when the amygdala perceives that we are in danger, it will take over the function of the rest of our brain entirely. In situations like this, the amygdala will defy logic and will not respond to reasoning. Our willpower cannot control the amygdala in this state, and it's nearly impossible to think thoughts to calm ourselves down. In science, this is known as amygdala hijacking. It's what happens to everyone in various degrees when we experience fear or anxiety that is difficult to control. Instead of trying to use willpower or logic, there is another way in which we can communicate directly with the amygdala and the limbic system. Just as the amygdala sends signals to the body to feel a certain way when it perceives a threat, the neurons in the amygdala are very responsive to sensory input. It's particularly sensitive to tactile input, which are the signals that our nervous system sends to our brain about what touches our body. Tactile bodily sensations give the amygdala the ultimate information of whether we are safe or in physical danger. When something that's not painful actively touches our body, the amygdala and the limbic system will try to interpret and give meaning to that tactile information. Now remember how the limbic system sometimes is called the reptile brain and is not the part of the brain that is engaged in deep analysis and critical thinking? Partly because of this. When you say something out loud, while the limbic system is trying to give meaning to a certain tactile sensation, it will end up interpreting the tactile information to mean what it is you say. It's like a stream of very important information, real physical information from your body, and what you say is like a side stream of information that joins up with that stream and is received by the limbic system. The result is that the limbic system will believe almost anything you say. So to practically apply this, a person simply has to think about something that makes them feel anxious, and right after engage in an activity in tactile stimulus, and then say phrases out loud that reassures the limbic system that they are safe. This rewires the neurons within the amygdala in accordance with the information that has just been said. The method that utilizes this understanding and practice to create emotional change is called tactile limbic rewiring. In the next sequence, you will see how Marianne first feels about going to the dentist, and right after, you will see when we begin to apply tactile limbic rewiring.
It's like a charge that's run through my body when I'm visualizing having to go in there. I'm feeling it from the feet up, and then my heart's starting to race, and
That's right.
feeling the shortness of breath. I'm okay.
Even with this feeling, I'm okay.
Even with this feeling, I'm okay.
And now forgive me for scaring me.
Forgive me for scaring me.
I'm not at the dentist now.
I'm not at the dentist now.
I just think about it.
I just think about it.
That's okay.
That's okay.
I just want to protect myself from dentist trauma.
I just want to protect myself from dentist trauma.
I can let it go.
I can let it go.
This will pass.
This will pass.
That's right. The other side. I am okay.
I'm okay.
Because I'm okay, I can let it go.
Because I'm okay, I can let it go.
A round of tactile limbic rewiring, or TLR for short, takes between 30 seconds to 2 minutes. In each round, besides stroking the cheeks, there can be other types of tactile stimuli, and a variety of different phrases will be repeated. A lot of which will vary depending on what type of emotion you're dealing with. In the next sequence, you will see how Marianne felt after she had 2 rounds of TLR.
Going to the dentist tomorrow. How does that make you feel when you think of that?
Just feeling it in my stomach now. So it's just, the anxiety is settled around there. It's not charged through the legs anymore. It's just the stomach area. But I've noticed my heart is not racing quite as much as it was. I'm trying to tune into. There's a lot less gut body sensations going on when we're talking about it. So there's a lot more calmness, and that feeling in my stomach was really uneasy and uncomfortable before, but I feel there's like a calmness.
Now, it might appear like Marianne's anxiety of going to the dentist is gone. However, her fear is still there, and the intense anxiety she just experienced a few minutes ago would most likely return if this would be all that I helped Marianne with. This is because her amygdala and some neighboring areas of the brain still remembers her recent dental trauma. The amygdala not only creates anxious and fearful feelings, it also remembers fearful and traumatic experiences from our past. This is done by the amygdala for our protection. Marianne's brain has created dentophobia for a reason, and that is to protect her from ever experiencing the same pain and trauma again. Up until now, it's like we have identified a weed in a garden that we want to get rid of, and we have taken away that which can be seen above ground. The next step will be to dig deeper to the roots so that we can uproot the unwanted weed completely. In the next sequence, Marianne has just been thinking back on our traumatic dental experience, and you will see the result when we apply 1 round of TLR on that memory.
Feel what you felt, saw what you saw, hear what you heard. Notice the pain. Yeah, that's right. That's it. I want you to start stroking your cheek. I'm okay now, and it's over.
Okay, now it's over.
So I want you to think back now on that time in June. What is it like now when you think back on that?
I feel like I was just there's so much baggage I was carrying around that, and all those things, like the anger, the upset. I feel lighter.
Yeah, you feel lighter. Brilliant.
Yeah.
In order to dissolve Marianne's dentophobia completely, it's important that any other associated memories that support her fear is also dealt with. Memories are for the most part subconscious, meaning they are below our daily conscious awareness and focus. This is because our conscious awareness is very busy, handling current thoughts, sensory impressions, and the stream of decisions that we have to make on a daily basis. So past experiences and memories are pushed into the deeper regions of our brain. Back there, unpleasant memories have a permanent record. And the amygdala uses this record to act like a guard, constantly watching out for us. And should we encounter any situation that is similar to a past unpleasant experience, the amygdala will sound the alarm by creating anxious sensations and stress. Sometimes we don't know why we get anxious in a particular situation. But if we stop and really focus on the anxious feeling and ask ourselves, when we felt this feeling before. Associated memories tend to show up. In the next sequence, you will see how I guide Marianne to find one of these subconscious memories and what difference it makes after we use TLR to process that.
How do you feel about going to the dentist tomorrow?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm certainly feeling a lot calmer about it.
Yeah.
A lot more relaxed.
How do you know you're not looking forward to
it? Because there's resistance, there's a little barrier.
Feel this barrier. This is something you don't want to do. Okay, I want you to notice that within your body. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you feel that?
Stomach and the pelvic area immediately.
Yeah. Okay, I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to link and connect that feeling to a time when you felt this before. Link and connect this feeling to a time when you felt this before. I want you to go deep within yourself. Your stomach and your pelvic area. The first thing that comes to mind. Where have you felt this before? This resistance.
That's odd actually, because the first image I've got in my mind is nothing to do with the dentist. It's actually to do with an emergency cesarean for my son. So that's what's coming up. So
yeah. And how old is your son now?
He's 17.
So I want you to think of that 17 years ago. And that was very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it like now when you think of it?
Yeah, I feel grateful.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
And I wasn't expecting that to come up in this at all, so that's kind of really surprising.
In total, I worked with Marianne for about an hour. Using TLR, we cleared quite a few memories, one of them going back to when Marianne was 12 years old and was anxious about going to the dentist for the first time. This is how Marianne felt at the end.
What about going into the dentist tomorrow? How do you feel about that?
I feel okay about it. Yeah, I'm actually feeling a physical pull towards it rather than repelled against it. A strong pull away from running. I'm feeling an energetic shift of I can feel my body going, okay, I can pull towards it.
Brilliant. Cool.
The day after our online session, Marianne had a dentist appointment, which was a preparatory visit before a more advanced procedure. And this is how she got on.
So you went to the dentist today?
Yes, went today.
Yeah? How was it?
Yeah. Before, I would have felt a lot of physical sensations in the body. So a lot of my legs be shaking, and I feel the anxiety through my whole body.
Yeah.
Shortness of breath, heart be racing. I didn't have any of that today. So, yeah, well, it's a lot more positive than before. When I walked in, the door was open, someone was in the chair and they were having the drill, which normally would have probably sent me running to the, to go back in the car.
Yeah.
But actually, I was like, okay, that's all right. But they actually shut the door, and I just sat and read a magazine while I was waiting. So.
Do you feel like this method made sense to you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I'd sort of known all about it before, I would have thought, well, how's that going to work? But until you experience it, and then, that actually really does make sense and does work. But you have to experience it yourself, I think, to really get the insight to that and how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And how does it compare to the other help and therapies that you've done?
I felt it was amazing in that it just got to uncover all these issues that I really don't believe. I think I could have sat with a counsellor probably for another year and not got to the same revelations that I got last night. So, yeah, I don't think it's comparing completely different things, and for me this is a lot quicker and more effective. It gets to the root of things really quickly, I would say. the things that you could never probably find by going through counselling when talking about it. I wouldn't have got to the same revelations that I did through the process that we did, because I think because it was tapping into the subconscious, it was really getting to what a lot of the root causes of things and where the fears were coming from. So
Yeah.
I think that was the really, really insightful. I didn't expect that.
Suppose some people think, subconscious, that sounds scary. Did you ever feel like you were out of control?
No, not at all. No, I felt really comfortable through, even when I was feeling stressed thinking about the dentist and stuff, I still felt in control and comfortable through the whole thing.
Yeah. So it was quite a different experience for you, it sounds like.
Very different. Yeah. This is completely different than the way you did it. So very unique.
Yeah.
So a few days after this last recording, Marianne had another appointment with a dentist, which was quite an advanced procedure that lasted an hour and a half. I wrote to Marianne to ask how she got on, and this was her response.
I slept prior to this dental appointment, which is not normal. The time in the chair was much improved. I was calm, and the dentist asked what I had done, as they were surprised in the difference. When I had a similar treatment last time, I was shaking, upset, and not in a great space. My family are shocked at the result of one session. My kids are really impressed, as they saw how the dental stuff affected my life. So, a noticeable difference since our session.
I'm originally a certified clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist, and I developed tactile limbic rewiring after having worked 10 years with other modalities as a method that is easy to apply, creates deep changes quickly, and makes sense. I stand on the shoulders of giants. TLR has certainly been inspired by other methods, but it's unique in its application and theory, and the way in which it's based on an understanding of scientific evidence of our nervous system, not the meridian system, and the understanding of neuroplasticity and the function of the various parts of our limbic system in the brain. TLR has developed into the most effective method that I worked with to overcome uncontrollable emotions and mental afflictions relating to anxiety disorders, trauma, and PTSD. I don't focus on coping strategies for emotional problems. Coping strategies is when you use various tools to make it easier to live with your problem and cope with it. What I do is I help to dissolve emotional problems in the same way you've just witnessed Marianne becoming free of her fear of going to the dentist. The end result of the help I offer is to live free of conscious and subconscious emotional baggage. Obviously, some people will need more than one session to become free of emotional difficulties, but the majority will notice a big shift straight away with TLR, where they feel better and lighter for every session they have. So it's not so much a question of if you will feel better, it's more a question of how much better do you want to feel. Don't hesitate to reach out and book an initial consultation with me. This is where I listen to you and you can tell me about your problems. And based on this, I can suggest a personalized plan that I believe will work for you. This might just be what you've been looking for. My name is Joachim Eriksson, and I wish you a happy life and to live free.